right, so the last time that I saw you guys, we were talking about factorizing cubic expressions. And I didn't get quite as far in the lesson as I wanted to, but it's important that we spoke about remainder theorem and factor theorem because that, especially factor theorem, informs a lot of what we do when it comes to factorizing and solve the cubic equations. So I just wanted to go back over how we do this and where these come from before we actually start speaking about solving cubic equations and what that means. Okay, so let me rather begin like this, right? When you were in grade 8 or 9, you would have learned how to multiply a binomial. So we just take any old binomial, x plus 2, with a trinomial. So let's take x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so when you multiply the first term in the first bracket with the first term in the second bracket, that's where you get your x cubed term from. Okay, and there are no other x cubed terms in our expression. Then we would have multiplied x with 3x, and that would have given us 3x squared. And then we would have multiplied x with 2, and that would have given us 2x. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to multiply 2 with x squared, so that's going to give us 2x squared. Come on, pen. And then we're going to multiply 2 with 3x, and that's going to give us 6x. And then we're going to multiply 2 with 2, and that's going to leave us with 4. Right. So if we have a look here, we can see that there's no other x cubed term and there's no other number term. All right. But there are two x squared terms and there are two x terms. So the x cubed term is going to come down unchanged. The x squared term is going to be a combination of the two that we've got. So we would end up with 5x squared. And the x term is going to be a combination of the two that we've got. So that's going to give us 8x. And then the plus 4 comes down. It doesn't combine with anything else either. So what I am teaching you to do, all right, is the reversal of this process. We are starting with the terms and we are producing the factors. Okay, so when we factorize, we start with terms and we put the brackets in to create factors. So when you are factorizing a cubic expression, you are putting those brackets back in, all right? We want to identify our linear polynomial. And then we want to identify our quadratic polynomial. When we identify our quadratic polynomial, we need to know what the coefficient of x squared is, what the coefficient of x is, and of course, what our constant term is. So that's the process that we are busy with at the moment. Okay, so if they give you an expression or an equation like f of x equals x cubed minus 4x squared plus x plus 6, and they ask us to factorize it as far as possible, they have not told us what our linear factor is. So we have to use factor theorem. We need to, we need to sub in values of x that make f of x equal to 0. All right, so any number that we're going to sub in also has to be a factor of 6, okay? Because remember, how did we get this 4 at the end here? How do we get the 6 at the end here? It's by multiplying the last term in the first bracket with the last term in the second bracket. So both of those numbers have got to go into this number at the end. So if we think about the factors of 6, we would have 1 and 2 and 3. And that just kind of helps to narrow our search a little bit. Of course, it could also be -1 and -2 and -3. They would also be factors of 6 as well. All right. So start with 1. If it doesn't work, then try -1. If that doesn't work, try 2, then try -2, etc., etc. Okay, you're not going to be sitting there forever and ever trying to find factors. It's not like they're going to give you, the first factor is going to be like a number like 13 or something like that. Okay, so let's try 1 and see what it gives us. Let's try -1 and see what it gives us. So you guys do that on your calculators. So you're subbing in either 1 or -1. Does one of them give us 0 as an answer? So I've also been playing around on my calculator, and there we go. All right, so in other words, what you guys have discovered is that f of minus 1 is 0. That means that x plus 1 is a factor of f of x. Okay, good, well done. So now we know what our linear factor is. So we're going to write f of x equals, and we're going to put x plus 1 in brackets. And now we've got a trinomial, okay? So we don't know the coefficients of the terms in the trinomial. So that's why we call it ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so now we want to work backwards and we want to calculate what the values of A and B and C are. So remember here on the right, the only way that we could get the x cubed term was by multiplying the x in the first bracket with the x squared in the second bracket. Okay, so this is why this method is called inspection, right? We are going to multiply x with ax squared. That's going to give us ax cubed. And then we go and we look at this term up here, and we can see that it is 1x cubed. So what we have done is we have equated the variables. We've got an x cubed on both sides. So what we're now allowed to do is we're allowed to say, well, if we've got an ax cubed on the left and a 1x cubed on the right, then it means that a has to be equal to 1. Okay, so we've worked out what 1 is. Similarly, on the right-hand side over here, do you remember the only way I got the 4 at the end was by multiplying the 2, the second term in the first bracket, with the last term in the last bracket. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to multiply the last term in the first bracket with the last term in the second bracket. So when I multiply 1 with c, I get 1c. And again, by inspection, I can see that it's equal to 6. Okay, that comes from up here. Please mute. Thank you. Amanda.
Sorry, Teacher Lee, can you unmute? Sorry, I just panic button. I muted everybody.
Yep, that's fine, not a problem. All right. So guys, thank you, Yolanda. Guys, just remember, please stay on mute, because if we can hear you, what's going on in your house in the background, it's a little bit distracting for everybody that's here. Okay, so that means that C has to be equal to 6. So that's this C over here. When we worked out A, we're working out the value of this A over here. That's the easy part, okay? When we want to work out the value of B, it's a little bit more tricky, okay? But it's not difficult, all right? What we are trying to do is we are trying to identify where the x squared term comes from and where this x squared term comes from, okay? So the 3x squared came from multiplying x, the first term in the first bracket, with the second term in the second bracket. So we're doing the same thing over here. We're multiplying x, the first term in the first bracket, with the middle term in the second bracket. So x times bx gives us bx squared. But we've got an additional x squared term. We've got 2x squared. That came from multiplying 2 in the first bracket with x squared in the second bracket. So we have to multiply 1 in the first bracket with ax squared in the second bracket. So we need the value of a to get the value of b. Remember, a was equal to 1. So 1 times 1x squared is 1x squared. All right, when we add 3x squared and 2x squared together, that's where the 5x squared came from. So when we add these two together, this is where the minus 4x squared comes from. Okay, and again, because you have got the same variables, you can drop the variables and you can work with the coefficients. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying that b plus 1 is equal to -4, and then we're going to take the 1 over to the other side, and that means that b is equal to -5. Okay, so that's how this method of inspection works. And it really is the best method because it works for every single cubic polynomial you could possibly be given. Okay, so that means we've got x plus 1 times 1x squared minus 5x, and then our c value was plus 6. Okay, so that's how we would work out. Amatle, you're going to try another example on your own. Okay. All right, so we're not finished yet because we still need to factorize our trinomial. So we've got x plus 1, and now when we factorize our trinomial, it factorizes into 2 brackets. One is -2, the other one is -3. Okay, to give us that -5x in the middle and that +6 at the end. And there you go. Your cubic is fully factorized. Okay, just like that. Yes, Salma, synthetic division is another way of being able to do this. You can also use long division as well. All right. Synthetic division is fine. It doesn't work in every single situation, and long division is just horrible. So that's why this method of inspection really is the best way to be able to do it. Okay, Lebogang, you've got a question?
Oh, yes. Afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Ma'am, can you just please explain how you got the BX again?
Sure. Okay, so coming back to this, right, let's just get rid of all of these lines over here. Okay. So when you want to get the B value, right, there are 2 multiplications that need to be done. Okay, so if we go back, let me try and show you again with this example over here. I'll rub that off. And let's just put another one down. Okay, so we've got x plus 1. And then let's say here we've got x squared plus 3x plus 2. So I'm not going to worry. Oh, man. I'm not going to worry. Sorry, guys. Let me just write that a little bit neater. We don't need any additional things going on here. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the a and the c value. Okay, if you want to get the x squared term, it comes from 2 places. It's the first term in the first bracket with the middle term of the second bracket. That will give you 3x squared. Then there is another place that you get x squared term from. That's from the last term in the first bracket with the first term in the second bracket. So that would be plus 1x squared equal to whatever it is. I don't know what the answer is. Okay, so here, if we go back to the example that we were busy working with, all right, let's get rid of that for now. Okay, you've got your x squared term, you've got your plus 6 at the end, and you've got this plus bx in the middle. All right, so the x squared term comes from multiplying x with bx to give you bx squared. It also comes from multiplying 1 with ax squared, whatever the value of a is, to give you 1x squared. Remember, a was equal to 1. A is not always going to be equal to 1. A could be equal to 2. Okay, but in this case, it's equal to 1. So 1 times 1x squared gives us this 1x squared over here. We then equate it to whatever we've been given in our equation. So whatever the coefficient of our x squared term is in our equation. So in this case, it's -4x squared. That's where this -4x squared comes from. Okay, so it's the first with the middle, last with first. Okay, to get your B value. All right. So
Thank you.
here, Does that make a little bit more sense? I know in the beginning it's a little bit difficult to understand, but as soon as you've got it, I promise you it is the easiest thing in the world. Okay, so now you know all the coefficients of the terms in your trinomial, and now you can go ahead and go and factorize your trinomial. Oopsie, it's not a plus, it's a minus. Factorize your trinomial as well. Okay, all right, so now you guys are going to try one. Okay, don't be afraid. All right, if the worst thing that happens is that you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. We're going to spend this whole lesson talking about this, so we're going to have lots and lots and lots of practice. Okay, all right, so the one that's here underneath you, Linda, that's the one that I want you guys to try. Okay, so that's this one here, g of x. In Santla, yes, sure. You want to know how we would mark this sort of question. All right. So there generally isn't any marking for the working that you do on the side. Normally what they would do is they would give you an accuracy on identifying your linear factor, an accuracy on your trinomial, and then an accuracy on all three brackets. Okay. All right. Let's see who else has got a hand up here. Lebogang, was that from earlier, or do you want to ask something else?
I'm sorry, Teacher Lee, before we continue, one can't see the screen. So sometimes it happens that you need to,
I need to what?
You must take out your screen and then put it back again for them to see.
So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to close my screen down and open it up again?
You stop sharing and then you share again.
Oh, okay. All right. So you want me to stop sharing and then share again?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Exercise we are practicing. I'll find
All
other.
right. I don't know how to stop sharing without ending.
Then don't worry. I'll just fix them. Don't worry. I'll make a plan.
I'm just having a pause
back.
recording. Yeah, you see, when you click on the more button, there's nothing here that stops me from sharing. So if there was a stop share button, but there isn't, there's just pause recording, stop recording, breakout rooms.
Sort them out. We will sort ourselves out.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Lusanda, your hand was up next.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Lusanda.
Ma'am, I need to be checking the factors for 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
We said the factor that works and that is equals to 0, it's -1. So
Yes.
why did ma'am say x plus 1?
Okay, so that goes back to the previous lessons that we had. All right. Do you remember, all right, when I introduced this section to you? All right. When we had spoken about the linear factor, do you remember we said that what we would need to do is that if we had something like x plus 1, we would need to make it equal to 0. And then we would take the 1 over to the other side, and then that would be the number that we subbed in. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's where it comes from.
So if you get a 1 as a factor, you're gonna just write x minus 1.
Correct, correct. So whatever value you've got, it's going to be the opposite sign.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, all right. So let's try g of x. Okay, so I've given you g of x equals x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x. Let's try that and let's see how it goes. Salma, you done? Oh, wow. Let's see if I can find another one for you, Salma. Leanne's also done. Oh, wow. Okay, so Palesa, you done. Gugu, you done. Ayanda, you done. Lilita, you're done. Amahle, you done. Okay. All right. So as I said, we're going to practice lots of these so that you guys become more confident with it. Okay, so is there anybody who's done g of x that wants to explain to us how you did it? Amahle, go for it.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Amahle. What did you discover?
Well, can I just read it out line for line?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I found that the number that goes into the equation that will make the equation equal to 0 is -2.
Okay. So you
Okay.
used x plus 2 as a factor.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, and then you had ax squared plus
Yes.
bx plus c, right? Okay,
Yes.
go
Yes.
for it. All yours.
Then now going to the calculation on the side,
Mm-hmm.
the value of ax squared would be just 1. So the open bracket x to the power of 2 plus 3x minus 4. Next line would be x plus 2. Then you factorize it, it will give you x plus 4, x minus 1.
Okay, that's perfect. Well done. You've done that really nicely. Okay, so now, Amahle, I can see that you understand this. All right. If there's anybody else that got the same answer as Amahle, you are welcome to try question A and question B to keep you going. Everybody else, let me just explain to you what she did here, because she did it very quickly, but she obviously understands exactly what she's doing. So she's multiplied. So try A and B if you got that right. Okay, so x times ax squared gives us ax cubed. And then she went and she had a look here and she said, I've got 1x cubed. So that means that a is equal to 1. Then she said 2 times c. So that gives us 2c, and that's equal to -8. That's why she has c equal to -4. Okay, so she had the -4 in her trinomial. Then she would have done her bx term. Okay, so remember, she's multiplying the x term in the first bracket with the middle term in the second bracket. That gives her bx squared. Then she's multiplying the 2 with the ax squared. So the last term in the first bracket with the first term in the second bracket. Remember, a is equal to 1. So 2 times 1x squared is 2x squared. And then she's gone back and she's had a look and she said, okay, this is equal to 5x squared. Now, dropping the variables, that gives us b plus 2 is 5. And then she's taken the 2 over to the other side, and that's where she's got the 3 from. Okay, so she's done this beautifully. All right, so in other words, what we've got is x plus 2 multiplied by 1x squared plus 3x minus 4. And then in her last part of her answer, she's gone and factorized her trinomial. Okay, so her trinomial is going to be x plus 4, as she said, times x minus 1. Okay, well done, Amahle. That was lovely. Okay, Nolutando. You've got a hand up, Nolutando?
Yes, I've got a question.
Yes. Go for it.
So I can't really understand what you guys have been doing. So could you mind starting over?
Okay. Have you been here from the beginning of the lesson?
No, I've just got here.
Oh, okay. All right. So just hang on tight. I just need to take questions from the people that have been watching me. And Nhlanhla?
While Nhlanhla is answering, no, Lutando, just know that we are recording the lesson, okay? So if you don't
Okay.
catch up in the lesson, you definitely will find the lesson tomorrow, and then you can rewatch it again when you have time.
Okay. Now, maybe what I'm going to say next is going to help with Inhlanhla and Onwaba and some of the people that have put messages into the chat. Guys, if you have a look at your second line of working, are your factors the same as Amatle's? Do you have x plus 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 1? Because remember, her first linear factor may have been different to yours. And that's okay, because if you used x minus 1 as a linear factor, your trinomial would have been a little bit different. But when you factorize the expression fully in the end, it would have ended up being exactly the same. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing. All right, there's got to be more than one factor. There are 3 factors, in fact. Okay, so you could use x plus 2 as your linear factor. You can use x plus 4 as your linear factor. You can use x minus 1 as your linear factor. Okay, so let's say you decided to use x minus 1 as your linear factor, as I saw somebody had done in the chat. Your ax squared plus bx plus c, your a, b, and c, well, your a will be the same, but your b and c will be different. Okay, so in this case over here, you would have still ended up with 1x cubed equals ax cubed. You would have still ended up with a is equal to 1. But as far as your c is concerned, you would have had negative 1c is equal to negative 8. So you would have had c is equal to 8. Then as far as your b term is concerned, you would have also ended up with bx squared. But then your negative 1 times ax squared, that would have given you minus 1x squared, and that would have been equal to 5x squared. So you would have had b minus 1 is equal to 5, so b would be equal to 6. So if you used x minus 1 as your linear factor, your trinomial is x squared plus 6x plus 8. That's fine, because now look what's going to happen. When you factorize your trinomial, you're going to get the x plus 2 times x plus 4. Okay, does that clear that up? Okay, so Salma, yes, you can use x minus 1, but you could use x plus 2, or you could use x plus 4. All of them are factors. Okay, so obviously if you change your linear factor, it's going to change your trinomial as well. All right, and then the people marking your work would know that, and there would be allowances made for that in the marking guideline. Okay. All right, Lindelwa, good. Leanne, well done. Lindelwa, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, I do have a question.
All right.
Going back to the previous question that we did, I would like to know there by the ax cubed is equal to 1x cubed. I don't understand that side.
Okay, so what you are doing with that, all right, is remember the first term in the first bracket and the first term in the second bracket is the only place where you can get your x cubed from. Okay, so in other words, if you have a look at this one over here that Amahle did for us, okay,
Yes.
she has multiplied the first term in the first bracket with the first term in the second bracket. That's where she's got ax cubed from. Then she's gone back here and she's looked at the x cubed term in the equation. It's 1x cubed, so that's why she's written 1x cubed over here.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
that's where it comes from. All
Thank you.
right. Okay, well done. Now, Leanne, you seem to be flying ahead. You've done A and B. I just want to make sure that you know that you've got the right answers before we continue. All right. What I'm going to do then, all right, Leanne, since you're finished, all right, I'd like you to have a look at question D. Right, that's a little bit more of a challenging question. And then let's talk about A and B with the other people. Is there anybody else like Leanne that's already finished? Nolitando?
So I got the same answer as Leanne.
Do you mean for g of x?
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So in that case, what I'd like you guys to do is try question A and question B. Leanne's doing question D, and anybody else who's finished A and B now can try question D as well. All right. And then let's go through those answers, and then we can move on to the next thing. All right. Yes, absolutely. Amatle, if you can't factorize, you can use the quadratic formula. Okay, so let me just put it here for you. So x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so we're going to just, if you're not a fast worker, it doesn't matter. Even if you just managed to finish one and you've done it correctly, that's better. Don't rush. Okay, Ayanda, if you finished right now, you can try D. And then we're going to mark A, B, and D.
Well done, guys.
Oh, well done, Leanne. You are flying, girl. All right, so Leanne, I'm going to leave it at your discretion. If you want to try either C or E, you're welcome. I just don't know if we're going to get a chance to mark all of these, but let's see what happens. Good, well done. Well done, Una. Okay. Okay, so well done. Unati, that's good. Emma Maleng, I'm going to go through the answer again. I'm just giving people a chance just to finish at least one question. Good, Lebogang. Good, Selma. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes, and then we're going to mark A and B and D. Good, Linda. Well done. No, Lutando, was that for the first one? Was that for A? You putting those answers there? Oh, for D. Okay. Don't stress. We're going to talk about D now. There's something special that we need to do with D that I just need to tell you. I'm guessing some of you would know that already, but okay. All right. Okay, so as far as A is concerned, is there anybody that's done it that's willing to share their 3 brackets with me? What did you get? Good, Sejo, well done. Anybody willing to share their 3 brackets for A? So one of your brackets, Shema, you guys feeling a bit shy? One of your brackets should have been x plus 5. One of your brackets should have been x minus 4. And another bracket should have been x minus 2. That was for question A. How did that go? Those of us that did question A, are we getting that correct? Thanks, Leanne. You got that? Okay. Good. Okay, so I'm seeing some smiles. Good. Lovely. Well done. Oh, that's lovely. Well done. You see, that's why you mustn't be. Yeah. Don't be afraid. If the worst thing that happens is that you get it wrong, everything can be fixed. Okay, as far as B was concerned, let's call that f of x as well. So Leanne shared her answer for D. Let's just work out what B was. So your answer for B, unless anybody's willing to share their answer, or if it's just easier for me to say what the answer is. So for f of x in B, you should have got one of your brackets should have been x minus 2. Another one of your brackets should have been x plus 1. And your last bracket should have been x plus 3 for B. How did that go, those of us that did B? Oh, lovely. I love seeing fires and happy faces. Got B. Good, Leanne. Good, Ayanda. Okay, and then both. Good, good. Well done. Excellent. And then there were a couple of you that shared your answers for D as well. So as far as D is concerned, let's see if I get the same thing. All right, so in D, let's call that f of x2. We should have ended up with one bracket was x plus 5. Another bracket was x minus 3. And your final bracket should have been x minus 2. Let's just have a look in the chat because I know somebody did put that in there. There we go. Ayanda, that was exactly it. Okay, Leanne, you also x minus 2, x minus 3. Okay, so Leanne, you said x minus 5. I got x plus 5. But maybe that was a typo. Amahle, I see you've got a hand up.
Yes, ma'am. Could you please to write out the full example for
All
D?
right. For D, with pleasure. I think that's a good
Yes.
idea
Yes, please. Thank you
because
so much.
no problem. It's an absolute pleasure. Okay, so I'm going to do D with you guys again. All right. I think that's a very good idea because there's actually something in question D that I want to point out to you. Can you see in question D, there's no x squared term? So what you would do here is you would make the coefficient of the x squared term 0. Okay, so as far as question D is concerned, we would write f of x equals x cubed plus 0x squared minus 19x plus 30. Okay, so again, we're going to try and find one of our linear factors. Okay, so when we sub in 2, we'll get 0. When we sub in 3, we'll get 0. If we sub in -5, we should get 0. So let's say I've now subbed in 2, and I have worked out that x minus 2 is one of my factors. So now I've got ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so when I multiply x, so the first term in the first bracket with the first term in the second bracket, I would end up with ax cubed, and I can see that that's equal to 1x cubed, so I'd get a is equal to 1. As far as my c term is concerned, minus 2 times c would be minus 2c, and that would be equal to positive 30. So that means that c is equal to negative 15. When I do b, I would end up with bx squared, and a was equal to 1, so that's minus 2 times 1x squared, so that would give me minus 2x squared, and that would be equal to 0x squared. So that means that b minus 2 is 0, so b would be equal to 2. Okay, so as far as our numbers are concerned, we've got bx squared, sorry, 1x squared. Our b was equal to 2. Let's go and put that in over here. So that would be 2. And our c was equal to negative 15. So let's go and put that in like so. And then when we factorized our trinomial, let me just move the page down a little bit, we should end up with, okay, so we want the bigger number to be positive because the middle term is positive, and the smaller factor of 15 to be the -1. Okay, and of course the order of your brackets don't matter because the order in which we multiply doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Emmeline, I know you're really struggling with this. I think probably the best thing for you to do is go and watch the video again from the very beginning. Okay, because I have explained how we would do this a number of times at the very, very beginning. Okay, let's just see where everybody else is. Lusanda, you've got a question.
Ma'am,
Yes.
for A, right? I got the value of A and C, but for B, I'm struggling. Can ma'am explain how she got the value of B?
Okay, so I explained how I got the value of B over here on the side. Okay, this is how I got B over here.
I mean for A, not for D.
Okay, all right, then in that case, I'll do A again. Emmeline, watch carefully now. All right, I'll do A again. All right, so let's just see what question A was. Okay, let me just go up. So A was x cubed minus x squared. And then it was something minus 22x plus 40. Okay, so let's say you used 2 as your factor. Amahle, was it you that said, or was it Lusanda, where you said you struggled with this one?
It's me, ma'am.
Okay, so, okay, Lusanda. Lusanda, what did you use as your linear factor?
I said x plus 5.
X plus 5. Okay, fine. Then let's do it with x plus 5. Okay, so here you would have had x plus 5. And then here you would have had ax squared plus
Plus
bx
b.
plus c. Okay, so when you did your a, you would have ended up with ax cubed equals 1x cubed. So you would have got a as 1. Then as far as your c was concerned, you would have had 5c equals 40. So your c would have been equal to 8. Then as far as your bx is concerned, okay, remember you are multiplying. I'll just show you again. It's the first term in the first bracket with the middle term of the second bracket. That gives you the bx squared. Then you are also multiplying the 5 with the ax squared. Remember a is 1. So 5 times 1x squared is 5x squared. All right, and it's equal to negative 1x squared.
So, ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
why not including 22x?
You don't need to use the 22 to work out the value of b.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, you don't need to use it. Okay. So this would have given you b plus 5 equals negative 1. So b would have been equal to negative 6 for you. Did you have that?
I actually used 22. That's why it was wrong.
Oh, okay. So you're not using the x, you're using the x squared. All right, so you would
Okay.
have had x times 5 times 1x squared minus 6x plus 8. And then you would have needed to factorize that trinomial a little bit further. All right, so this would have given you x plus 5. And then here it would have been 4 and 2, negative 4 and negative 2, like that. Yes. Okay.
Thank you,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
All right. Emma Maleng?
I want to ask, where did you get the x plus 5?
That you have to find out using factor theorem. So you've got to sub a number into f of x to get 0 as an answer.
Okay.
Okay. So were you here when we did factor theorem last week?
No, I started today.
Oh, you started today. Okay. All right. Well, then no wonder you're a little bit confused. Okay. What you must do is go back and watch all the previous videos. All right, because unfortunately, we've been doing this now for a little while. So that's why the others know what's going on, Shame, and that's why you're a little bit confused. But go back and watch the videos, okay, Emma Maleng? And then
Yes.
you'll see, okay, so you're subbing in a value of x that gives you 0 as an answer. And then that is how you know what your linear factor is supposed to be. Okay. Yes, Palesa. That's correct. Nolutando?
Can we please do C? Because I've been trying to do C and I've been struggling with it.
All right. Okay. Well, since everybody seems to be struggling a lot with these, and this is perfectly normal, okay? This is difficult and people do struggle. So that's fine. I'm more than happy to do C also because it's a little bit different. Okay, so let's just make a little bit of space here and let's talk about what would happen with C. Okay, so as far as question C is concerned, we would say, let's call it g of x, and it would be equal to 3x cubed minus 7x squared. I suppose I could write 0x. I'm not going to use that. I use the x squared term. It doesn't matter, plus 4. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to find a linear factor, as you know. All right, so I'm going to sub in different values in order to get 0 as an answer. Did you manage to do that? Who asked me to do C again? Was it you, Nolutando?
Yes, ma'am, it was me.
Okay, so what did you get as your linear factor?
I got x equals to 2. I don't know.
There we go. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so if 2 goes in and gives you 0 as an answer, that means that x minus 2 is a linear factor, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. And then here you've got ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so let's go through the process of discovering what these things are. Okay, so x times ax squared would give us ax cubed, and it's equal to 3x cubed. So that means that a is equal to 3. Okay, let's do c next. So you've got -2 times c, and that would be equal to 4. So c should be equal to -2. All right. And then when you do your bx term, let me just get rid of this out the way here. It was a previous question that we had done. Some space. All right. Okay, so now we say x times bx gives us bx squared. Now, -2 times ax squared. Now, remember a was equal to 3. So now you've got -2 times 3x squared. -2 times 3x squared is -6x squared. And that has got to be equal to -7x squared. So that means that b, oopsie, beg your pardon. That means that b minus 6 is -7. So that means that b would be equal to -1. Okay. So now you've got x minus 2. Here you've got 3x squared minus x, and then your c value is -2, like so.
Yes.
All right. Now we've got to factorize our trinomial. In one bracket, we'll have 3x. In another bracket, we will have x. Okay, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the 2 here and the 1 there. I want -1 in the middle. So 3x times -1 is -3x, plus 2x gives me minus x in the middle, and +2 times -1 will give me my -2. So there are your 3 factors: x minus 2, 3x plus 2, and x minus 1. Okay. Yes, that's right, Emma Maleng. Okay, in order to get us started, we've got to look for a number that gives us 0.
Okay, ma'am.
All
Ma'am,
right. Yes.
I think I have it in another method, but now, yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah, you just got to hear it a few times and get someone to show you, and then eventually it becomes a little bit easier. Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
No problem. All right, Leanne, are you saying you got that was that for question C? For D? Okay. I think that's what I had. Let me just go back down here. Martley, I did see your hand up. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just.
No, ma'am, I forgot to put my hand down.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, Teacher Lee, I'm running the poll because I see
That's
that,
fine. Okay, guys.
and I'm already on load shedding, so I'm not complaining. But
Okay.
I'll
That's fine. Okay, guys, do the poll, please.
please. I really appreciate it. And you guys did amazingly well today. Well done.
Okay, so Leanne, you had -2 x squared minus 15. Just wondering why yours was different, because mine is plus 2x plus 15. I don't think I've done, I mean, I do make mistakes, but I don't think I made a mistake here. You know, b is definitely equal to +2, Leanne. Okay, so what I would suggest is even if you come back to this video and just come and have a look, because how I've done it, this is the working for D over here. This is the working for D over there. Okay, so that was how we got A and C and B. All right. Okay, so some last questions, Lucinda.
Ma'am,
Mm.
I just wanted to know, even if your coefficient for the first value, it's not 1 and it's like 3x cubed, you can calculate the whole thing. You don't
Yeah,
need
you
to
can.
change anything.
You don't need to change anything. It's just now your A is not 1 anymore. Now your A would be 3 or whatever the case is.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, but it's exactly the same working out. All right, no problem. Amahle?
Ma'am, why did we use the 7x squared, or was it 2x squared for question C?
Let's just have a look. Question C. Oh, it was minus 7x squared in the question that was given to us. Okay, it was
Okay.
minus 7. Okay,
Okay.
all right.